the challenge of compliance, which is something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that we need to be able to look at. I mean, we've just seen it in America, haven't we, where somebody died in a building and Donald Trump said, oh, you know, there was no sprinklers at the top. We didn't have to do it. So one of the largest landlords in you know, billionaire, if he's not prepared to do it without legislation, we're up against it, aren't we? We're going to find it difficult. It's not true. It must have been a lookalike. It wasn't Hillary buying any matches, by the way. I know this building very well. I'm a resident. 40 metres. We've got all the trade-offs. We've got extended distances. We've got no sprinklers in the corridors. We've got fire-rated walls, and we've got the basements done to OH2. Although we don't know how many electric cars and how many charging points are going to be in there for the next, well, what it could be 80 years. Who knows what risks? But I can be damn sure that they won't tell us that it's going to change the risk. They're going to tell us to stay in our apartment regardless. I'm on the 10th floor, so I've got an average chance of getting out. But you know, we've got 18 floors there. So what they have done down at the ground floor is they've decided that they can open a garage with 9 cars in, 36 tyres, the plastics, the toxins. That isn't open to the elements. That's enclosed. That fire loading is not what it's designed for. The fire strategy hasn't changed. I've seen the fire strategy. Is that acceptable? Have they really agreed that? Have they just found somebody who'll agree to that? That you know, it's really very challenging, these buildings. Like I say, where we are. We've all been in buildings, haven't we? And we all go into these high-rise towers in the cities all the time. Have you ever been in there where they say there's a planned shutdown or an unplanned shutdown? You're walking into basically an unprotected building. You don't get that information, and we're quite lucky that we would understand it if we got the information. How are we really going to understand it? How can we expect the public to understand it? And how are they going to change their behaviour if were they furnished with that information and that knowledge? Do we get to see the maintenance records? Do we know the efficacy of this building for the whole life of it is going to be maintained? We've all got the cloud and modern computing. We can go on in real time. We don't have to make it commercial, but just let us see that it's been done. Let's see it's maintained. And let the AHJs and the people who have to manage the legislation, let them go on and be able to give yellow and red cards out. Let's go and say, well, if you're not doing it, get another fire staircase in there. Go back to an unsprinkler building. That's what we're going to treat you like. Because if you're treating it like this, then we've got a clean sheet, as Nick said. People don't die in sprinkler buildings. But FM Global have done some research, and 65% of the reason sprinklers don't work when there's a fire is because there's a valve closed. So you've got a couple of buckets of water. We need to know the valves are all open. We could all go out now and find valves that are closed. We can certainly go out and find thousands of valves that aren't monitored and wired, and we've all just so, oh, well, it's somebody else's responsibility, and we've walked away. So let's not be complacent. Things are getting more difficult, aren't they? The hazards are changing, which we talked about. So it's all right being in the opposition, but and saying, oh, there's problems. But we've seen what was pretty much a gold standard with VDS, where they do inspect everything when it's finished. They do inspect it every year. They do make sure it's going to work, and they're prepared to shut down the buildings. And that has to be something that we all aspire to. That has to be a gold standard. When it comes to sustainability, there are issues. We talked about water being one of them. And Australia, I think, is very much at the lead of this. They're in AS 1851, so we adopt that, and our products where we go for Safe for Life are in the AS 1851 guide. We have the UL Green Mark. We don't just look at the UK. We have the Singapore Green Mark, and we need to be very commercial with what we do, don't we? We need to have an answer in a couple of days. We need to have a hot desk that gives us an answer. We need to share those answers so that when we ask a technical question, we're not waiting weeks. We're in a commercial environment. We need an answer today, and we need to know we need to share that answer and that knowledge so we can all make better informed decisions. So we need an MOT, really, don't we? That's what we need. A Safe for Life MOT. Perhaps not in every building. Perhaps we need to start like in America and move the goalpost down. Let's start with higher buildings and move it down. Let's try and get. Okay, you're going to say, where's the money going to come from? Well, we all go and buy a coffee for £3. Why don't we put a fiver on every sprinkler head? There's 1 to 2 million sprinkler heads in the UK fitted every year. We'll soon have 25 million quid to spend. Is that reasonable? Like I keep saying, we've got a clean record. Are we going to wake up one morning and find 5, 10, 20 people died in a sprinkler building and we're on our back foot and try and recover that? How hard is that going to be? If we're the stakeholders. If it's not us, then who? If it's not now, then when? Okay. I spoke to Alan Bevan from Arup at lunchtime, and he said, look, it's all right coming to these events, but what are we going to do? Okay, my idea is to have a Safe for Life certificate, like an MOT, and to have a traffic light, a simple traffic light to say this building, it's good, it's bad, or you need to ask more questions. At least everyone can understand that. And Alan said, yeah, you know, with residential, I'm quite happy to go back to my company, to Arup, and say, I've been to this event from 2018 onwards, all residential buildings that we're involved with, it's mandatory that they're sprinklered or we're not going to be involved. But he said, look, the thing is, if Arup say yes, for that to stick, I also need ACOM, I need Ramble, I need WSP, I need Hilson Moran. We need all the other parties to be consistent and do that, which is a fantastic galvanisation of what we're all trying to do here and make things better. Yes, we've got sprinklers in more buildings. Years ago, we had the insurers going round. We never had sprinklers in hospitals, schools, care homes and the like. It's great that we've got them. Now we've got stewardship, ownership. And if we wait, like the other speakers have said, if we wait for the catch-up from the regulation, from the Hackett report, from the London Assembly, it's going to be years. It will be diluted. I don't want homeopathic sprinklers. I want them to work. And I know you want them to work. And that's my message today. Thank you.